Chicago at New Orleans up next. This is just Alvin Kamara week, isn't it? Let's be honest.
I can't get away from Alvin Kamara in DFS whatsoever this week. As soon as I started looking at this slate, it was like, okay, well, everything here lines up for Alvin Kamara. The usage he's had 8.8 targets per game in his last 5 games. Bears allow most receiving yards per game to running backs. I think it's obvious that Kendre Miller isn't quite as ready as we might have hoped. Jamal Williams is not healthy enough, but Kamara is averaging 64 rushing yards per game, 45 receiving yards per game. He's finished inside the top 12 running backs every week that he's been available, and he's also finished inside the top 5 the last 2 weeks. Over the last 2 weeks combined, he's had 56 Draftkings points. It's just, he's a cheat code in that format. I think you have to lean into that. The Bears, again, are going to be without Justin Fields, so I don't think I really want to start any of those players. Cole Kmet, he's been up and down. He's had 4 10. He's also had 4. So I don't think you can rely on that week in, week out as you might want to at the tight end position. The Saints defense also allows the 5th fewest fantasy points per game to tight ends, along with the second lowest catch rate to the position. And there's certain tight ends who I would start in those kind of matchups. Players like Mark Andrews, TJ Hawkinson, Dallas Goedert. But Cole Kmet isn't a player who I think can overcome excellent defensive coverage. Derek Carr, I'd call him a fringe starter this week on DraftKings in terms of Superflex leagues. You should feel pretty confident plugging him in as your QB2 or even QB1 if you're hit by bye weeks. He's had 4 games with over 15 points in a row. And even though he's not the most accurate downfield quarterback, he drives the ball downfield, but he also takes all these layup passes to Kamara, who can break them for big runs. So I'm fine with that. I don't think Taysom Hill's usage at quarterback has been enough to worry me that, it's not like it was with Drew Brees at points where Taysom Hill would repeatedly come in and sort of end up throwing those touchdown passes. So I'd be fine with that. But the Bears, they allow the 4th highest amount of drives to end in fantasy, to end in points. They can't stop teams. I think, they're 7.5 point underdogs in this game, and it's start all your Saints who you feel confident in. Chris Olave, you talked about in the Dynasty Rises and Fallers video, which is on the channel and people should check out. 1 touchdown, 517 yards. It feels like a get right spot, but it could just all end up being Kamara.
Yeah, I think these Saints wide receivers are fascinating this week because it's Michael Thomas is just 5 receptions for 50 yards every week. You could take it to the bank. He's got no upside, but he's not going to burn you. Chris Olave is screaming regression. Every single thing you look at is saying this guy is due for a massive breakout. And then you've got Rashid Shaheed, who is maybe the most boom-bust player in fantasy right now. He's had 3 top 12 weeks. Every other week he's finished outside the top 50. It's mad. I don't, short of prime Will Fuller, I don't remember a guy that was this boom-bust and just can win your week and completely lose your week.
Better in best ball, that's the term for that player.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to hit you with one stat as well, Tom. Alvin Kamara, receptions per game. He's currently at 7.8. There are 4 players in fantasy that are averaging more. Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Adam Thielen, and Stephon Diggs. That is it. If we're talking high floor in terms of fantasy, Alvin Kamara is averaging 8 points a week just in receptions. He doesn't even need to get any yards. That's just 8 points a week in your bank. You can cash that straight away. It's absolutely wild how he's been used. And yeah, I think it's a very exciting matchup for him.